Hello, everyone. Jakita here. So, I am going to talk to you about why I stopped smoking weed, okay? Marijuana, Mary Jane, chronic, cannabis, okay? Why I stopped smoking this. Now, again, this is why I stopped smoking. I'm not telling anybody what to do, okay? So don't get up in here getting mad, all right? But I want to share this because first of all, I feel like it's a testimony, okay? And anytime you're going through something or you have experienced something, you're never the only person who has experienced that thing or who has gone through or who is going through that thing. Okay. And so I like to share my testimonies because, first of all, I know that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, and maybe you can help someone else out. All right. Now, I have jotted down some points to follow, and these are in no particular order, but these are all reasons why I stopped smoking. Okay? All valid reasons, I believe. Number one, I didn't like my lips getting black. Okay? I did not like my lips getting black. You guys, I felt like my lips first of all, I didn't feel like I could see the blackness in my lips. And of course, we know that that's an effect, a result of smoking cigarettes, weed, cigars, whatever the case may be. That's a result because we see it. Now, here's the thing. Y'all, feel how you want to feel about this. To me, it is so unattractive when a woman has black smoking lips. Like, it's so unattractive. It's unattractive for men too, especially when men, it's so black and crusty. Like you haven't put on any Vaseline or chapstick for years. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the stuff caked up on the side. I'm just saying, from cottonmouth, whatever. But when a woman has those black smoking lips, it's like, ugh, and that's just me. That's just me, okay? So that's number one. I used to, no, I hated that. And a cousin that I used to smoke with a lot, she would always pick at me because I said it so much, like after we would smoke, and I'm just being honest, okay? Listen, if you go back through any of my videos, especially within this past month, I have been sharing a lot of testimony. I've shared testimony before, but I like to talk about the things that a lot of people don't like to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real. It's real stuff. And a lot of this stuff, again, it's stuff that people don't like to talk about, but it's stuff that people should talk about. Okay? Because it sets people free when you talk about certain things. You know what I'm saying? It lets a person know they're not alone. All right? Anyway. So yes, but she used to say, every time we would smoke, she'll say, oh, you about to go in the bathroom and look at your lips and say, my lips getting black. And I would though. And I used to be like, oh my gosh, they are, But anyway, so that's one reason, okay, why I stopped smoking. Another reason, guys, again, being honest, open, and transparent. Because of smoking, you know how you can smoke with some people and it's like you have nothing else in common with them except you chill with them and smoke with them, okay? I ended up getting with someone. You know what I mean when I say getting with someone. I ended up sleeping with a guy who I would have never, ever given the time of day to in that way. But the only thing we had in common is that we were smoking together. And this is how I know that smoking has a spirit in them, because it elevates this lustful spirit in you. You know what I'm saying? When you smoke, people smoke to wind down, to feel good. It takes you to another level, in your conscious state, you know what I'm saying? But there's a spirit in them, because think about it. If you smoke, for people who do smoke, okay, you know that it does something else. It does something for you. It changes your mood. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times people are more chill, But I know that I'm not the only one this has happened to. I've heard other people admit Like, yeah, you know what? I did get with somebody I was smoking with, and that was the only reason. It's like it just happened. We were smoking, we were kicking it. That's usually how it is. We were kicking it. That's what that means when people say we was kicking it. Okay. Anyway, but just being honest. And I knew, I was like, that's crazy. Because I would never have gotten with this guy. I would never have dated this guy. We didn't even date. It was just that's what we had in common. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm being honest, okay? Because one thing about it, these honest conversations, they're hard sometimes, but again, they set people free. And the same people who listen to your testimony, they've done some stuff that they're ashamed to share. Okay? But once you realize that your testimony will set somebody free, and also once you realize that you've already probably called yourself the names that people are calling you, or you've probably said things about yourself that other people have said, it's like all that stuff won't even matter anymore, because you've been set free by the blood of the Lamb. Like Jesus has forgiven you for your sins. So now you're comfortable sharing your testimony, because it's going to set somebody else free. You know what I'm saying? And it's also going to let that person know that you're not alone. Once you realize that nobody can say anything about you that you probably haven't already said about yourself, or probably haven't already heard, okay? And you're not ashamed of where you were versus where you are, okay? And you've been set free, you'll share your testimony too, okay? Hallelujah. So again, yes, that's another reason why I stopped smoking, okay? Because it helped, it made me realize there's something in this, there's a spirit in this that brings out this sexual perverted side of people. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened to me. All right. Another reason, this one guy I used to listen to, this one pastor, actually, when I was living in Arkansas, I used to listen to him, and people would send him questions. Okay. Their church was called the Shepherd's Chapel. It's in a small town in Arkansas, and I used to watch it on TV. He's passed on now, but they still replay a lot of his teachings because he was so knowledgeable about the Bible. And I remember somebody sent him a question, and they said, "Is smoking marijuana wrong?" Right? And he said, "Well, yeah, it is." He was a straight, cut to the point guy. Okay. He didn't play around. He was an older guy. He didn't care about what anybody had to say. And I like that about him. But he said, yes. He said, well, the reason why, because, people, this is the thing about people wanting to justify what they're doing and feel right about it, even if it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's telling you something's wrong, it's like, the first thing people will say is, show me where it is in the Bible. Show me where it says you can't do it. You know, I'm just saying, right? And I used to think like that, but as I've gotten closer to the Lord, I realized that we have to allow the Holy Spirit to reveal things to us as well. Some things aren't so black and white. But anyway, so he said, well, it is in the Bible because it's sorcery. He said it's sorcery. Sorcery is witchcraft, okay? He said the sorcerers, they would use herbs to get to a higher level, to alter their consciousness, to alter their state of mind. You know what I'm saying? To get to a higher state of mind, okay? That's what sorcerers would do. And what does weed do? It alters your state of mind. It gets you to a higher level of a state of mind, right? That's why people say, I got high. I'm getting high, right? Don't people use that term? I mean, it is what it is. Take it how you want. Anyway, but I wanted to share this because I was kind of looking into this, and I didn't even know that they used cannabis as well as other herbs back in those times, back in medieval times, different times, Bible day times, whatever, to make witches' brews, okay? And so the witches would use it to make their witches' brew, and they would rub it on the skin, which would cause hallucinations and an altered state of mind, okay? But yes, the the guy said, it's sorcery. And I remember just seeking the Lord about it. And this goes into my next point. The Lord convicted me about it. You know what I'm saying? The Lord, he convicted. I was very convicted about it. Every time I did it, I felt so guilty. Okay. And this is what conviction does. Think about it. When you're sentenced to prison, right? They call you a convict. You got convicted. You were found guilty, right? So I felt very guilty about it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I will tell you, I had a conversation with someone I knew at the time, and she was like, well, I didn't feel convicted by it. And she said, but if you did, then you need to stop, So, I'm just putting that out there. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't know if being convicted or not being convicted is enough to say, well, I can keep doing this thing or I can choose to stop doing it, because we know that some sins in the Bible are clear cut, right? We know, even though people try to make it seem like, well, that's not really what that says. Okay. We know some sins in the Bible are just black and white. This is what it says. It's wrong, right? But with that being said, a lot of the sins that are clear cut, people still find a way to say, well, the Lord didn't tell me to stop, or I don't feel bad about it, or I'm not convicted by it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep doing it. Right. So yes, I was very convicted by it. The Lord, I felt guilty every time I did it. It's like, man, I know I shouldn't be doing this, stuff like that. So that was another reason why I stopped. Do you know what I mean? And let me just say that it wasn't necessarily that I was addicted to it. I really didn't need it. I mean, maybe it started out that way, which that's how things are, right? Everything starts out a certain way. Like, you don't really need it. You're not really addicted. But the more you do it, the more you kind of become, dependent on it as well. But I don't want to say I was dependent on it, because honestly, I could go like a year without doing it. And, all of a sudden I get around that favorite cousin or whatever the case may be. And it's like, yeah, I'll smoke. You know what I mean? But here's the thing too. I did not ever want to go get it myself, because I was always too scared to do it. Like, honestly. So if somebody else had it, it's like, okay. And, I remember one time I did try to find some myself, and I eventually got it, but I was so scared. I was so paranoid, and I never did it again. I never did it again. Okay. Anyway, speaking of which, paranoid, right? Now, I don't know how many of you guys have heard about this whole trend with these Cinemoms or whatever, but it's like, you could look it up. They're on the news, and it's this whole movement of moms who smoke. Okay. And they have their group and everything. And it is what it is. But one lady, I was listening to this one lady talk about it, and she was like, I'm a better mom because of it. I'm more alert than I've ever been and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, I said, you're more alert. And I said, yeah, I was more alert too. Right. But it's because I was paranoid. It's because I was paranoid. It's not that I was alert because the weed did that for me. You know what I'm saying? But I was more alert because I was more paranoid. I drove when I shouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? Anything could have happened, right? But I was more alert because I didn't want something to happen, because I knew I was high. Does that make sense? Like, I was more paranoid. It's not that I was more alert. I was more paranoid. Okay. Okay. So moving on. That's another reason I didn't like feeling like that, which takes me into my next reason. Okay. You know how people say it's like, oh, people who smoke weed are some of the smartest, dumbest people ever. It's true, right? It's like, you're high, you're at a higher state of mind, you're thinking on another level, right? You're in deep, deep thought, right? That's part of why sorcerers did that, right? To reach this other level and come up with these new ideas, whatever the case may be. But like I'm looking at my notes because I wrote, I got smarter, but I felt dumber. Because it's like, one thing I did realize, I said, weed really does impair your judgment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think you're getting smarter and you're thinking deeply, but it's like you're moving at this slow pace. It's like everything is slowing down. You know what I'm saying? There's a delayed reaction to certain things, I feel like. That's why I said it impaired my judgment, because it was kind of like the delayed reaction, even just to respond to something, was delayed. And there are times that I've had thoughts to myself. I'm like, somebody asked me a question about this or that. Really, I've had these thoughts like, I remember when somebody asked me a question about this or that, and I was so high, I didn't respond, but I wanted to. But that was just a delayed reaction. And it was too late for me to respond after the fact, because we had moved on to another conversation. And it's like, man, I wanted to respond to that. Does that make sense? For people who don't smoke, it probably won't make sense to you. But I got smarter, but I felt dumber. Yeah, I was thinking deeply, and it's like, man, I never thought about that before. Think about this. But then it's like, what? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, moving along, eating and sleeping. I heard another person say, I don't smoke to get so high that I eat up everything in the house and I fall asleep. It's easy for people to say that. I don't necessarily believe that. People can tell you anything, you know what I'm saying? But we know that one of the side effects that comes with smoking is you do want to munch on things, right? You want to snack, you want to eat. That's just how it happens. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, you snack and then, you'll fall asleep. Like I remember one time, a cousin of mine was staying with me, and he used to smoke a lot, okay? And I remember he was making him some noodles, okay? And I woke up the next day and I saw that like the pot was burnt with noodles in it, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? I just saw it and I was like, what happened? And he was getting ready to tell me a lie. It's like as soon as he started telling me a lie, I said, wait a minute, I'm going to stop you because I know you're going to lie. So I'm going to tell the truth for you. I said, you smoking, you got high, you put on the pot, but then you fell asleep. He said, no, I said, you put on the pot with the noodles in it, the water and the noodles, but then you fell asleep. He said, dang, Keita, how you know that? I said, because that's how it goes when you smoke. I said, I already know. You know what I'm saying? He got high, he got hungry, he put the water in the pot with the noodles, boiling it, and as he's sitting on the couch waiting, he fell asleep. And then he woke up to smoke. Okay? It's so many negative side effects that come with this thing, right? Now, I'm going to get to some other things that I've heard stories about, in a positive way, so just bear with me. I'm going to share some things, okay? So anyway, I wanted to say this too. Listening to those moms, it was just a quick little 4-minute interview, but it was so much said in that with the Cinemoms, the moms who smoke or whatever. The lady was talking about how she has it under control. And then she said that she felt so out of place because she was in these mom groups like on Facebook and stuff where moms would easily talk about having that sip of wine every day to calm down or whatever, or taking that Xanax or whatever, you know what I'm saying? She said, I couldn't talk about smoking my weed, to de-stress or whatever. And so they started, this group. Anyway, so she said, but, if they can do that, then I can too, whatever. First of all, here's the thing. It's really, these people are deceiving themselves because all of it is wrong when that is something you depend on, okay? Having glasses of wine every day, all day is wrong if that's something you depend on. Taking the pills is wrong if that's something you depend on. Just because the doctor prescribed it to you, it does not make it right? That's why so many people get hooked on these pills because it's a drug at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? We never really know what's in all of these pills, right? You're not the ones in the chemistry lab mixing it up. You see what I'm saying? So just like with weed, like people become so dependent on it, but people have also made themselves believe that, because there aren't so many side effects like crack, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that's extreme, but cigarettes, you know what I'm saying? Oh, it must be okay. But here's the thing, when you start to depend on it, all right, then it is a problem. It is a problem because, and whoever, I don't know who might understand this or not, for people who aren't believers, but when you realize that the Lord can give you that same high, okay, backtrack. The Lord can give you a high that is so natural and beautiful without you having to depend on, drugs or pills, whatever the case may be. You won't even need it anymore. You won't even need it anymore. A lot of times people smoke just to block out the problems. That's why people do drugs. That's why people take pills, right? To block out the problems. But blocking out problems is not going to make the problem go away. Okay? It's not going to make it go away. It's not. It's still going to be there and you still have to deal with it, right? Anyway, okay. I just wanted to put that in there. Now, let me get into another part of this discussion. I will say, I remember I did a paper back in college once upon a time I called it the silent killer, cigarettes, right? And I was comparing cigarettes to weed. And I got an A on this paper, okay? But I shared how, the stats on how many people have died from cigarette smoke and how there have been no reports of people dying from smoking weed. You know what I mean? No reports, okay? No statistics. But I'm not saying that, oh, it's better to do that. It's good to do that. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to play angel's advocate, okay? Because I don't like saying devil's advocate, but I'm just trying to play angel's advocate in a sense of like, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just saying, I don't know, it's a gray area sometimes because I knew someone personally who had bone marrow cancer, and that is what I was told, the worst cancer that you can have, right? Because it's in your bones and your body hurts. And I remember he told me that one of the nurses told him that he needs to get him some weed, right? He needs to get some. He could, medically he could. And she told him it would help. And he told me that it helped him tremendously. Okay? He did. So, I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, that was for medical reasons. And we know that people have a medical card, people can get that, but let's keep it real. There are ways to get that. Okay. That's not an excuse because a lot of people, they don't need it. They just want it. It's still for recreational use, but saying, well, I have a medical card, it's like it makes it better, but come on. We know a lot of people get the medical card just to be able to get the weed legally. Okay. So guys, that's all I have for you. You know what I'm saying? I really hope that, I don't know. I just wanted to shed some insight on why I stopped, why I believe there are more negative benefits than positive benefits. And I just wanted to give my testimony on that. I haven't smoked. I don't know, guys. It's probably been since, it's 2025 now. It's probably been since 2016 or 2017, I'll give it, so almost like 7 or 8 years, I would say, so I haven't kept up with it. I just said, I don't need it. You know what I mean? So yeah. But anyway, guys, so again, I hope that you got something out of that. And again, this is why I stopped. This is only why I stopped. Okay. So yes, like, share, comment. Let me know why you stopped. Or hey, why you feel like you don't have to stop. Whatever the case may be, okay? Share it with somebody you know that might find this interesting, okay? But anyway, check out some of the other videos. You know, I share a lot of my testimonies, okay? I share a lot of my testimonies because hey, I'm past it. Hallelujah. I'm in a beautiful place in my life, and it's all because of Jesus Christ. All right. So bless you guys. And remember, you're not just a precious pearl. You're the precious pearl. You are the pearl of great price. Okay? Have a good day. Bye.